Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite winter soups. It's the Portuguese kale soup, and I'm super excited today to make the soup because most of my ingredients I've either canned or grew or both, and so that's very rare that it all comes together like this for me. So I just want to show you the ingredients that we're going to use, and then we'll put it together. First off, sun-dried tomatoes. You use a half a cup of that. And these sun-dried tomatoes I grew, and these are cherry tomatoes, and I dehydrated them this summer, and it worked out really well. I've never dehydrated cherry tomatoes before, and I really am going to keep this in the rotation because, as you can see, I've used like almost half the jar already. And then it also calls for some tomatoes. I've canned tomatoes because you want to retain that summer fresh flavor, and when you have a bunch of tomatoes, that's what you do, is you can them. But today I'm actually not going to use this because I have a bunch of tomatoes and we're going away for a few days, and so I want to use the ones that we have, so I don't want to waste. Kale, look at this beautiful kale. It has rained for a couple days, and so my kale is just really plump and just full of moisture, and just love it. Look how crisp it is. I just picked this right now. So I have trees of kale. I will show you a picture of that. It also is going to use fennel seeds, and what I did this year is I let the fennel flower, and then I collect the seeds. And not only is it great for reseeding to get more fennel, but that kind of happens on its own, but you can also use the fennel seed for your cooking. It's also great as a digestion aid, so it aids in digestion. And then beautiful fennel. This is fennel from my garden. I just picked it this morning. Isn't this gorgeous? So we're going to use a small bulb of fennel. And then I've got my chicken stock. I've shown you how to can chicken stock in a prior video, and also calls for onion and garlic, but because I use the onion, and you can see the onion floating around, and also garlic, I'm going to omit that. And I ran out of beans, so I'm just going to use canned beans here, but you want a nice can of white beans. And then look at these gorgeous potatoes. Oh my goodness, these potatoes are great. I accidentally grew these. These are volunteers, and I love them when they're itty bitty and small like this because they are so creamy and delicious. And it's similar to the comparable flavor, you know how a homegrown tomato tastes way better than a store-bought? Same thing with potatoes. They are intensified in their flavor, and so if you haven't grown potatoes, I suggest you do. And then lastly, are actually two more things. I've got some thyme, and you should always try to grow some herbs because it's just really handy just to go outside and pick whatever you need, and you don't have to make sure you have it at the grocery store. And if you do grow herbs, drying herbs is a great idea. And I'm going to do a video on how to do that. Someone's asked me to do that, and I will do that this summer. And then lastly, it needs to have a little bit of lemon. And rather than lemon, these are, I kind of use the pill for something else, but that'll be a later video. But these are limequats. It's a type of kumquat, and so I'm going to use these because I don't want them to go to waste. So I'm going to use this for my lemon. All right, so let's go. So normally what I would do into my pan, I would chop up my onion and garlic and throw some olive oil in and let that simmer and get, translucent, right? But since I already have that in my chicken stock, I'm just going to pour my chicken stock in there, and I'm just making a small amount because we only need it for tonight. I will put the recipe though, as usual, in the show more section. So I'm just opening up what I think I'm going to use. All right, we'll get this simmering. And this is full. All right, if I was smart, I would have roasted my fennel in the stock pot. But, so what you're gonna do is saute your fennel. I just sliced it up. And I just like to saute this until it gets a little tender. It's going to cook in the soup, so it doesn't have to be super soft. I just like to get that flavor going. You know, when you saute stuff, it caramelizes and gives beautiful flavor. In fact, I might do the carrots too. So I just love the way the aroma is. I actually decided I want more of this fennel, so I'm going to cut up some of the stalk on this. And this part right here, this greenery, oh, I love this stuff. First of all, it's kind of has licorice smell and flavor to it, and this makes really great greenery for your bouquets. Okay, so I vacuum sealed my sun-dried tomatoes just to keep the air out. And we're just going to add, normally you would add half a cup, but since I'm doing less than a full batch, I'm just going to eyeball it. And then, oops, excuse me, to this I'm going to also add my fresh tomatoes. Alright, so we're going to have a really nice rich base. And now my vegetables are sauteed, so I'm going to go ahead and add those as well. Ooh, see how nice and caramelized that one is? Beautiful. Okay. Next I'm going to add my beans. I don't rinse my beans, I just kind of like drain it a little bit. And this gives you the heartiness. When you have beans, it'll fill you up. And you don't have to use chicken stock if you're a vegetarian. You can also make vegetable stock, right? And can that if you want. I just always make the chicken stock as a byproduct of my pressure cooked chicken, so always have it on hand because I don't like things to go to waste. And when you want to make something later on down the road, see how quick this was? I mean, this is going to take me like 20 minutes to make this soup. And look how great the broth looks already. Okay, so now we're going to add our spices, and I'm going to add the fresh thyme. And all I do to do the thyme is I just run it through my fingers like that. You could use dried thyme too, but since I grow it, I want to use it. And if you don't like a lot of the licorice flavor, you don't have to add the fennel seeds. It's up to you. I would taste the broth at this point to see whether or not you like the flavor. If it's too much, then, you know, don't add the fennel seeds. I just love the unique flavor it gives it, so I'm a strong flavor kind of person. And then, of course, then you're going to add your salt and your pepper. I don't add a lot of salt, as you know if you watch some of my videos, but it does heighten the flavor of food, so sorry I'm moving the camera there. Okay, gotta fish these stems out, but now's a good time to taste it. Oh, it smells so good. Oh my God, delish! Seriously, it's really good. Next, I'm sorting through my potatoes, and you notice my potatoes are dirty because I want to keep them preserved, so I don't want to add moisture to it, and sort out any smushy ones or any of them that have green. The green is toxic, so you don't want to eat that. So I'm going to wash these really good. When you wash your potatoes, it might be a good idea to have a little apparatus like this, a little brush, to brush off your potatoes. I know my dirt is pretty much organic. So, I mean, I buy organic dirt, and then I fortify my dirt. See how I save my scraps like that? And then what I do is I just bury them in my dirt. And then guess who eats them? The worms. So it's like a giant. And the other key trick when you're doing things like potatoes or beets or, you know, any large size things, try to keep your sizes around the same so that they cook around the same rate. So do you notice I cut those up a little bit so that they're around the same. Now we're just going to add our potatoes into the boiling pot. Yummy, yummy. Okay, so next we're going to prepare the kale. And one of the reasons why I like to grow kale is because the smaller leaves like this are very tender and sweet. Versus the ones you get in the store, they're usually the really large leaves and they don't taste as good. But when you are doing kale, the key is slice it really thin, like so. And that seems to work. Even like when you're making like a kale salad, I like to chop it up finely like this. And then it tastes better. And then anything excess like this, I just save and I'll put it into my compost pile. All right, so that's how I do kale. Okay, so basically what you want to do is cook this until the potatoes are done. And I can just tell by just taking a spoon, and if I can smush it and break it in half like that, they're done. And so next I'm going to do is add my kale to it. I like to add the kale last. We don't want this piece in there. Do some quality control there. And this just gives you great vitamins and fiber and oh, so yummy. So you just want to cook that until it's just a little soft. Kale is a great green to add to soup because it actually holds up pretty well. It doesn't get mushy. You know, like spinach might get a little mushy, but kale holds up. All right. So like a couple minutes and we're ready to dish that up. I think I'm going to chop up more kale because I like more kale. Okay, soup's done, so we're just going to go ahead and ladle this into the bowls. And look how rich and hearty this soup is. This is a super duper healthy soup, but just because it's healthy doesn't mean you have to lose out on flavor. Healthy doesn't mean it has to taste terrible. So the last thing I'm going to do is take that little lime-quat and I'm going to squeeze it in just to brighten the flavor up, perk it up. And there you go, a nice bowl of hearty Portuguese kale soup. I hope you enjoyed this video and you'll try making the soup. It really is that good. And as always, I appreciate you watching. Feel free, please, to share my videos, like, subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, take care. Remember, life after 40 is really good. All right, until next time, bye.